What's the matter? You've never seen a black and white before?
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the channel if this is your first time. This is another film video. This one is celebrating black and white films. So this is something that I've been thinking about doing for quite a while, and then my friend Sherry said that she was in a conversation with someone, and they said they wouldn't watch the Twilight Zone because it's black and white, which is not that unusual. There's lots of people that will write off films, not want to watch a film because it's black and white, and they assume it's outdated, or I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming that's what's going on. But maybe not. Maybe they just don't like the fact there's no colour. I don't know. But it's a bit of a shame because there's so much great black and white stuff out there. So obviously the black and white TV, like the Twilight Zone, but there's some great films out there, and I thought it'd be really cool to do a top 20 black and white films that are in black and white. So they're not just the black and white era. So by the time you get into the era when films are more commonly in colour, I'm not just concentrating on that older era. There are some newer ones, and there are two, I think, from the 2000s in this list. And I thought it'd be really nice to highlight 20 films that I think either are really, really good, or in some cases, in at least the top 10, I think are fantastic. Top 12? Top 12. The top 12 of these films, I think, are fantastic. But there's, yeah, I mean, a lot of them, more than top 12, to be fair. I'm waffling a bit now. But fantastic films, things I would recommend. And if you haven't seen these films, I definitely recommend you see them. If you have seen the films, let me know in the comments below if you'd agree. And also, it'd be really cool if you could give me your idea of maybe a film I could have included, because there's tons out there of great black and white films. I've only got one Western, and a lot of the really acclaimed, iconic Westerns came from the black and white era. But let's start my top 20 black and white films. Actually, before I start that, I wanted to make mention of two different films that I think use the black and white thing really cleverly, and it's not the whole film, but it's done as a kind of a plot device. So you've got The Wizard of Oz, for example. I love the fact that starts in black and white, and once the whole tornado thing's happened and she arrives in Oz, it turns into colour. And that must have been such a dramatic thing to have happened when it came out. So it's really, really impressive idea. But I love that. The film was a work of genius anyway, in so many ways. But that's something that film did, which I think is really cool. And the other one I wanted to quickly highlight before I talk about the 20 films is Pleasantville. Because Pleasantville is in black and white during the whole period when the main characters are kind of restrained by this sort of 50s moralistic trap that they feel that they're in with their relationships. And once things start changing and their morals start having more of a voice, it turns into colour to kind of bring in that idea of the 60s changing in sexual politics and stuff. So I think that's a really cool element to that film as well, which I think that's a really good film. It doesn't get praised enough, I think, Pleasantville. So just those mentions quickly of those two films before I talk about the 20 films. Okay, 20 black and white films I recommend. Number 20 is an absolute classic comedy from Steve Martin, directed by Carl Reiner, but they wrote it together and they basically re-edited old footage into a new ridiculous plot with a detective. It's like a film noir tribute / parody. They mix up old footage with new footage that you've got Steve Martin playing this detective, and he's trying to solve this case. And these people keep having these guest cameos that are literally scenes from other films. And I know in that film you've got some great guest cameos using that old footage. So people like Cary Grant, Humphrey Bogart, Veronica Lake, Barbara Stanwyck, all sorts of people appear in the film, but they're unwilling participants. It's a really funny film. It's really good. It's classic kind of when Steve Martin was really funny. I think his first three films are amazing. But yeah, that one, I thought it'd be nice to choose that one because clearly they chose to make it in black and white because it's a parody and tribute to the old film noir black and white crime films. So I think that works really well. So that came out in 1982. So obviously, by 1982, it's unusual for a film to come out in black and white. But it's a really successful film, I think, and I think it's quite fondly remembered in general. So number 19 is a more modern film. It's the most modern film of the list, and it's Nebraska, which is a really, really good film by Alexander Payne. Alexander Payne, I think, is really underrated. He's very critically acclaimed, but people don't really talk about him very much. I think he's so brilliant. He did Downsizing and he did Election. He did The Holdovers recently. That's a really good film. He does these character films. You know, he did Sideways as well. Really interesting director. And this is definitely a character film. This is about a relationship between Bruce Dern, an old guy, and his son. They go on a road trip because his son's kind of pandering to this sort of ticket. He thinks he's won the lottery. Bruce Dern's character thinks he's won the lottery, and he's going to go to this other town to collect his prize, and his son kind of puts up with it and goes on the journey with him. And it's just such a good film, and it's great character work, but it's great work in an acting sense as well. Brilliant script, Nebraska, and that's from 2013. So as I said, that's the most recent one out of this list. But it's a really, really good film, and it works really well in black and white. There's something about the starkness of the relationship and the way it kind of unfolds really well through this black and white aesthetic. So that's that one. The oldest, no, this isn't the oldest one. The second oldest film is number 18, and that's Modern Times. So Modern Times came out in 1936, and I think it's, well, certainly my favourite. It's not the best, but it's my favourite Charlie Chaplin film, and I've seen a lot of Charlie Chaplin stuff. I think he was an amazing man, and I really like Charlie Chaplin stuff. But Modern Times has got this real charisma about it. There's something really endearing about it, but it's got these great sequences, you know, like when he loses his rhythm on the factory floor and all that. It's a brilliant, brilliant film. Charlie Chaplin was a really clever man, and if you haven't seen Modern Times, I think it's a really good example of what he was like as a performer, as a writer and a director. Charlie Chaplin, 1936. So that's the 18th one. My number 17 is To Kill a Mockingbird. So that came out in 1962, and it was directed by Robert Mulligan, and Gregory Peck plays Atticus Finch. Really, really important part. Fantastic film, and I remember I saw that at school because we were studying the book, and it had a big impact on me, the film, and I think it's just a beautiful film. And obviously the fact it's in black and white is literally because of the time it was made, so it wasn't deliberately made in black and white like some of the things I've mentioned, but it's a really, really good interpretation, adaptation of the book. So To Kill a Mockingbird is my my number 17 from 1962. My number 16 is a very, very powerful, serious, quite somber, and unforgettable film, I think, and that's Elephant Man from 1980, directed by David Lynch, with an incredible performance from John Hurt. I think John Hurt is such an incredible actor, and he does a phenomenal performance as John Merrick, the man that had to deal with this horrific disfigurement and was nicknamed the Elephant Man. And it's just a really powerful performance. It's a very powerful film, and it's always one of those go-to films you think about when you think of modern films that have been filmed in black and white as an artistic choice. And I think it really works really well because it gives you that sense of the time it was made. It just feels quite an historic film, but it was made in the 80s. So yeah, my number 16, David Lynch's Elephant Man. My number 15 is a film I'd love to see again. It's been remade a couple of times as well, and they've just started doing it in Broadway as well, and I really wanted to go, but it was crazy money, so I couldn't go. But 12 Angry Men is my choice. 12 Angry Men, and that's from 1957, and that's directed by Sidney Lumet. And Sidney Lumet is a really interesting director. He's done all sorts of important films. One of my all-time favourite films, Dog Day Afternoon, is a film that he directed. But this original version of 12 Angry Men, I think, is absolutely brilliant. It's a courtroom drama where this jury is struggling to figure out whether or not they're going to make this man guilty or not. And there's this one juror who's not convinced, and he's trying to convince the rest of them through the film that he's not convinced they're guilty. It's really, really good film. 12 Angry Men, brilliant script. My number 14 is a classic science fiction film, and it's from 1956, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original first Invasion of the Body Snatchers, filmed not that long after the book came out, and it's directed by Don Siegel, who ended up doing a lot of films with Clint Eastwood, including Dirty Harry, and a very interesting director, but just such a great film with a very memorable performance from Kevin McCarthy, and Carolyn Jones is in it as well, so that's a big plus for me. But it's just a brilliant film. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, absolute classic science fiction from 1956. My number 13 is a director and a film that never seems to get talked about online, or I never hear anyone mention it, but I'm a fan of Jim Jarmusch. I think he's got a very peculiar style. It's very quiet and slow atmosphere that he creates in his films, but it's something very quirky about the way he does his films. And this is a film called Down by Law from 1986. Down by Law is such a great character film, and Tom Waits has a great performance in it. But it's just a really interesting performance, and in general, a really interesting film, Down by Law. So if you can handle the pace or lack of pace and the seemingly mundane nature of Down by Law, you'd really enjoy it. I think if you lock in, you'll really love it. I think it's a really interesting film, and it's not my favourite film of Jim Jarmusch, but see, it's the one that's black and white. Not on Earth, I think, is better. I love Night on Earth, and I do like Mystery Train as well. It's another really good one. But Down by Law, brilliant black and white film. Okay, my number 12 is another film I've seen a couple of times, and each time I see it, I'm totally blown away by it. Everything about it. The central performances, especially Marlon Brando's performance, is amazing. I'm talking about On the Waterfront, which came out in 1954, and Elia Kazan directed it. It's an amazing character piece, but it's also quite an important film about labour and exploitation of labour, about unions, all that kind of stuff, and it has got just the most phenomenal performance from Marlon Brando. It's just such a great film, On the Waterfront, from 1954. Okay, we're getting close to the top 10. I really wish this was on in the top 10, but I decided to keep this slightly out of it because of the other films I wanted to talk about. So my number 11 is Freaks by Todd Browning. I say by Todd Browning. Obviously, films are made by about 250 people, but directed by Todd Browning from 1932. And this is the earliest one out of all the films. There's another early one coming up. My number one choice is actually a really early film from the 30s, but this is the earliest film in the list. I think it's an incredible film. It was banned for 50 years in this country. It's quite shocking. The ending is really shocking. I think the reason why it was shocking to the public was that it's populated by actors that are actually what would be considered in those days freaks, or sideshow acts. And I think that's quite shocking in a way, but the whole plot is it's just one of those films. It's just nothing like it. There's no film like Freaks, and I would recommend it if you haven't seen it before. And it's really, really interesting. I love it, but I think it's I love its uniqueness, and it's the payoff at the end. So yeah, Freaks from 1932 is my choice for number 11. Okay, so we're into the top 10, and my number 10 is Young Frankenstein. So I don't know anyone that has seen this film and doesn't love it. It's one of those films that goes beyond people's kind of particular sense of humor or taste in humor. I think it just seems to just go down well regardless. It's a Mel Brooks film. Not every Mel Brooks film is a hit. I think Blazing Saddles is brilliant. High Anxiety is brilliant. And this is brilliant. I think, and Spaceballs is really good. But in general, sometimes his films are a little bit hit and miss. But this, he was absolutely on form. I've seen quite a long documentary about it where he spent a long time trying to make it authentically seem like a film from the 30s and to honour the original aesthetic of Frankenstein from the old Universal classic. And there are lots of things that make it successful besides the gags. But it's a brilliant film. Young Frankenstein from 1974, this one. And yeah, just amazing film. And clearly they made that in black and white because they wanted to honour the Universal horror films of the 30s, and they wanted to make it look like the original Frankenstein. So yeah, fantastic film. My number 9 is another recent one. So this one came out in 2011, and it was directed by Michel Hazanavicius, and it's a French silent black and white film that won an Oscar for Best Film. So I remember when this happened, because I've always watched the Oscars, and it was such a shock to, I think, everyone that was watching, and the people commentating on the Oscars as they were happening, and probably the crowd as well, from what I remember, that it won that main Oscar, and it was just a lovely moment. It's a great film, I think. It's a French film that basically depicts this couple that are silent movie stars and their difficulty once they go into sound, like films turn into talking pictures. It's such a great film, and definitely worth seeing. If you'd heard about it, you hadn't seen it yet, it's definitely worth seeing. So that's my number 9, The Artist, from 2011. My number 8 is a classic film that's also one of my favourite books, The Incredible Shrinking Man, and that's from 1957, and that's directed by Jack Arnold, who's had quite a long career doing different sort of genre stuff, actually non-genre stuff as well. But yeah, The Incredible Shrinking Man is a really cool film. It's a lovely adaptation of a book that I think is really great, written by Richard Matheson, and it's got the right kind of tone, the right kind of atmosphere in it. It's a very somber, eerie, kind of existentialist kind of book, and it really does that really well in the film. So that's my number 8, The Incredible Shrinking Man from 1957. Well, number 7 is the first. This is where I break the rule, my own personal rules. I wanted to only include one director at a time, sort of one film by a particular director. But I've broken the rules here because this is one of 2 appearances from Akira Kurosawa. Sorry, I can't help it. So I'm gonna forgive myself because these 2 films are incredible, and I couldn't have not mentioned the other one, and I really want to mention this one because nobody ever talks about it, it seems, and that's Yojimbo from 1961. It's an amazing samurai film that was later adapted as Fistful of Dollars, and it's basically this samurai that pits himself against these 2. He kind of exploits these 2 warring factions, and ends up like saying he's going to work for one of them, but he's also working for the other one, and he sort of plays them off each other. It's just really clever. It's brilliant. Yojimbo, 1961 that came out, and Kurosawa films are always worth watching, but that is my second favourite Kurosawa film. I'm sure if you know his stuff, you know what the number 1 Kurosawa film in my list is going to be, so you're going to see that appearing in a minute. But yeah, I think Yojimbo is definitely worth watching. Amazing samurai film. My number 6 is from 1968, and it's the hugely influential Night of the Living Dead, directed by George A. Romero, One of the most influential horror films, and still powerful today. Gives you the creeps. It's got some great moments in it, some great sort of set pieces. George A. Romero was so good in for those first zombie films, those first 3 zombie films he made. Amazing films. And I had the pleasure of watching the anniversary version, like 50th anniversary, I think it was, in LA, in the Chinese theatre, the one with all the handprints outside and all that. We wanted to see something there, and it was an anniversary showing of Night of the Living Dead, so that was a really special thing. I'm really glad that I experienced. But that was an incredible film from 1968. Okay, number 5 is High Noon. This might be the only Western I think I included. I think it's the only Western. High Noon from 1952, directed by Fred Zinnemann. And I think it's just a really powerful film about a sheriff with a dilemma. His wife is trying to get him to just leave town because she knows that these bad guys are going to come back. These bad gunfighters are going to come back and try and kill him. And he wants to protect the town. He doesn't feel like he should go, but he knows he's putting himself at risk if he stays. And the whole film is done in real time. And I love films that are done in real time. There's only a few of them, and it's not done very often. But I think it's done so well in High Noon. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic film, High Noon. So you may have some other films like Searchers or Stagecoach or whatever that you'd like to include, but let me know in the comments about that. But for me, High Noon is my favourite black and white Western, and that's from 1952. Number 4 is that other film by Akira Kurosawa from 1954, Seven Samurai. And if you don't know the film, you will know the Western that was an adaptation, a remake of Seven Samurai, which is obviously the Magnificent Seven. But then there's also Battle Beyond the Stars, when there was a science fiction, 80s science fiction film from the same plot. But Seven Samurai is a beautifully made film. It's obviously been studied to death in film schools, and it's just an incredible piece of art. And that final battle with the rain coming down, and the way that the rain affects the battle, and the way that Kurosawa focuses on certain samurai at a time, it's just so, and you get to know, it's quite a long film, and you get to know the different samurai as the film progresses. So brilliant, so brilliant. So Seven Samurai from 1954 is my number 4. My number 3 is a film that came out recently. Someone, might be Dave, I'm not sure, someone mentioned they were going to see the film, and I thoroughly recommend it. Again, it's not got much of a pace. The rhythm of the film is pretty slow, but Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, that's the brackets, from 1964, directed by Stanley Kubrick, based on a book called Red Alert, and it's such a brilliant film. I've seen it many, many times, and I think that the more you see it, the more you get used to its weird rhythm and tone, and it becomes quite normal. And I know a lot of the dialogue because of seeing it so many times, and I saw it in the cinema recently as a theatre production with Steve Coogan playing the Peter Sellers parts, which I thought was really, really good. It was a really good experience. But no, the original film is so, so brilliant. Peter Sellers, as I said, played 3 different parts, but Slim Pickens' role in it is amazing and really funny. And George C. Scott's really funny in it. He's an absolute nutcase in it. But yeah, Doctor Strangelove is an amazing, amazing film. Okay, number 2, my number 2 for this list is a film that means a lot to me, and it's almost my reason for doing this video. I absolutely love this film so much. It's from 1960. It's directed by Georges Franju. It's a French horror film. It's a black and white French horror film from 1960. And some of the scenes in it are quite graphic considering it's from 1960. But it's such a powerful film. It's such an atmospheric and emotional but also distancing and alienating film. It's very odd, but it's just incredible. And there's a beauty to its tone, but there's also something deeply ugly about it as well. It's called Eyes Without a Face, or obviously in French it's Les Yeux Son Visage. But it's such a brilliant film. Definitely, if you get a chance to see this film, you'll see it in the UK or in America advertised as Eyes Without a Face. And the mask that the daughter has to wear is so powerful as an image. It's so eerie, this mask that she wears, because she's got this disfigured face. And her father is a mad scientist who keeps kidnapping these women to remove their face to put it on his daughter. It's such an amazing film. And the ending is just the most... When I saw the ending, I was like, what is that? How we're finishing this experience? Oh my God. It's such an interesting way to finish the film. So, yeah. It's not a very long film either. Eyes Without a Face from 1960. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then my last choice, my number one, the film that's definitely in my top 5 films of all time anyway, regardless of whether they're in black and white or not. Well, I absolutely love this film. It's a Marx Brothers film. It's from 1933. It's Duck Soup. Duck Soup is definitely their funniest film. It's completely mad. It's a parody on war and politics, but because it's a Marx Brothers film, it's so chaotic that the satire and political commentary is a little bit of a backseat to the puns and the crazy scenes where Harpo's running around doing stupid things, and there's big sequences with Chico and Harpo having this rivalry with this lemonade seller, and yeah, there's loads and loads of mad bits in it, and there's even a section of it where it's parodying the songs that appear in a lot of the films from that time, and that is in itself quite funny because it's almost taking the mickey out of themselves, because most of the Marx Brothers films featured a lot of songs, but this one doesn't feature as many songs. Although there's a big sequence when war is declared, there's a completely mad sequence where this huge cast of extras and dancers and the Marx Brothers sing this song about war being declared. But it's such a brilliant film. It's directed by Leo McCarey, who had a lot of experience before he'd even done this in the Hal Roach Studios, and working a lot with Laurel and Hardy and W.C. Fields and Mae West as well. And he had a lot of experience, and you can see that especially in the scenes between this lemonade seller and Chico and Harpo. They're almost like silent routines, you know, and they're quite... you can see the link with Laurel and Hardy and Chaplin and Buster Keaton and those kind of things, you know. But the dialogue stuff, because obviously the Marx Brothers is full of puns and silly dialogue, that stuff's really strong as well. It's just such a brilliant film. So Duck Soup is my choice for number one. Please let me know below what you think are great black and white films to celebrate. I think black and white films, as you can see, there's a whole host of great ones, and I think sometimes it can be a really good device to enhance a film. And obviously there's some great films that happened before colour was the normal thing to use for your film anyway. So don't be afraid of watching a black and white film. Don't be afraid of watching black and white TV. If it's a special effects thing, don't worry about it. Listen to the dialogue, enjoy the plot, enjoy the acting. Just don't worry about the effects. Sometimes you're missing out if you stress that too much. And enjoy some good stories. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay curious.
Of what it's like to be you. You sit up on your high chair on the outside looking through. I know